Tonight, we're here in Tel Aviv, this country struggling to process the brutality of Hamas's attack.
It's a massacre, it's a terror activity.
Israel's military details atrocities, entire families killed in their homes. Now striking back at Hamas, Palestinians trapped inside Gaza with little food, water, or power.
I'm scared every day. Maybe I lose my dad, I lose my sister, maybe I will lose them.
The growing fears of a humanitarian crisis as the fighting escalates.
Here in Canada, a criminal investigation into the Ontario government's Greenbelt scandal.
Ontarians deserve answers. They deserve transparency.
The scope of the RCMP investigation. The very public fight as Saskatchewan moves to fast-track its controversial school pronouns policy.
This is The National with Ian Hannah-Mansing and Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. People here in Tel Aviv have settled into another night of uneasy quiet after a day of sirens warning of incoming rockets. You can feel the shock as people try to wrap their minds around the growing death toll from Saturday's attacks. Over 1,000 people gone, while in Gaza, 900 are dead, as Palestinians endure escalating airstrikes and fears of a full-scale invasion. Tens of thousands of troops and hundreds of vehicles are now massed on Gaza's border. Many inside fear it's a matter of when, not if, Israeli forces move in. And as Hamas fires more rockets at Ashkelon, stories of unspeakable horror emerge from the community of Kfar near the Gaza border. Israel's military calling it a massacre. Chris Brown begins our coverage. Chris, you're back in Jerusalem tonight after traveling through the south today. The accounts from Kfar indicate a level of barbarism, I think, that is shocking people who thought they'd already seen the worst.
Well, Adrian, we certainly heard about the brutality inflicted by Hamas, but we haven't seen it. The video is graphic, it's very unpleasant, but it's also very important that people see the reality of what's happening.
As Israel continues to count its dead from Hamas's surprise attack, its military is revealing some of the horrific ways people died. This is Kfar Aza, where the bloated bodies of Hamas gunmen still lie in the open.
You see the babies, the mother, the fathers in the bedrooms, in the protection rooms, and how the terrorists kill them. It's not a war, it's a massacre.
Some images are just too awful to show, with blood everywhere. Dozens of Hamas militants stormed in, killing the guards, burning homes and butchering entire families, say Israeli soldiers. Remains are only now being removed because the last gunmen were only killed a few hours before this visit. On that awful day, medic Shalom Abitan was sent to Kfar Aza as a first responder. He didn't realize he was arriving at a massacre and was further stunned to be handed one of two babies.
They were screaming, they were dehydrated. The soldier told me that the parents are not with them anymore. They were all captured or they were killed. Until then, we were dealing with people without any hands and shot in terrible conditions. It was suddenly you're getting a baby, a small baby, and you feel that you can give him the feeling of being safe.
Hamas's inhumanity is also now visible from the dash cam footage of people shot in their cars that morning, their vehicles coasting to a stop with the drivers dead inside. Another barrage of rockets was launched from Gaza Tuesday, striking targets in Israel's south, where people are preparing for what they expect will be a long war. We visited Negba, where we met Nofar Melek Shalom, a pregnant mother of two, and a Canadian from London, Ontario.
We stay with our friends in their safe room.
Because why?
Just scared of sleeping in our house right now because there are still terrorists walking around and they don't know where all of them are yet.
This kibbutz, a communal settlement, is designed to be self-sufficient. Ken Levran on the security team said if there is a ground war with more Hamas incursions, he will be ready.
We have a perimeter defense system here with armed guys like me ready. We got, look towers and watch towers. We have communications. We have a war room. We have.
And Chris, Israel has made its intentions very clear. It says it intends to ensure Hamas cannot mount attacks like this ever again.
Well, and that's underscored, I should say, by what we're seeing as far as the mobilization. Every day, tens of thousands of new soldiers move up. Hundreds of thousands are already in place. We've seen the intensity of the rocket attacks on Gaza increasing, and now everyone's waiting and wondering if that siege of Gaza is going to turn into a full-scale invasion. Adrian.
All right, Chris Brown in Jerusalem, thank you. And coming up, I speak with a senior Israeli military officer about these terrible developments and whether Israel will launch a ground offensive in Gaza.
There are lots of Israeli troops down in southern Israel. Then we were surprised. Now we are deployed on the ground and responding.
More on that and what the IDF is saying about the hostage situation. That's in about 30 minutes. There are huge worries for Palestinians in Gaza about the potential consequences of a full invasion. That tiny enclave is home to over 2 million people already cut off from food, water, and electricity. There's nowhere to run. Panic doesn't have a nationality or language, but it has a sound and a terrible feel. The cries of people in Gaza trying to get out through a crossing with Egypt. That Sandy Pluman airstrike. Israeli military say they were hitting a tunnel, not the crossing, but that doesn't erase the fear or the sense of being trapped. And Palestinians in Gaza are definitely trapped, controlled on the ground by Hamas. A blockade restricts their movement out, and they're so afraid of what's coming from the sky. The Israeli military describing waves of airstrikes, dozens of aircraft every 4 hours.
The strikes are of thousands of munitions on thousands of targets. It creates maximum destruction on areas in the Gaza Strip. In those areas, there are meeting points for terrorists who intended to attack Israel.
Striking what Israel says are strategic locations for Hamas, but they sometimes also end up being commercial buildings, residences in crowded areas. The Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza said 260 children are among the 900 dead from airstrikes as of Tuesday night. And look at what's left. This is drone footage today of the Gaza Strip. Journalists cannot get in from the outside, so we connect as best we can.
Hello?
Dr. Mohammed Kandil is an ER doctor. We reached him at work, where he's been for more than 48 hours. The phone line isn't great, and he's exhausted.
We are seeing small kids, hundreds and hundreds of severely injured people, and we were like under a medical supply shortage for 15 years. So our capabilities is very, very limited. We are trying our best, and the situation is very, very terrible.
Needs will surge. The World Food Programme says before this happened, 63% of Palestinians in Gaza lived without reliable access to food. And now Israel has cut off access to fuel, electricity, food, and water. And as the UN and others push for a humanitarian corridor, it hasn't happened yet. Oxfam official Omar Grieb sent us this voice note.
The hostilities are really hitting the infrastructure of water and sanitation, and it's really affecting people's access to water as well. And also the hostilities are really creating more internally displaced people.
How many more will there be? Is an unprecedented time about to darken further? Hamas has threatened to execute and broadcast the killing of one hostage for every building in Gaza hit by Israel without warning. The Gaza Strip is right now a place of rage and ruin. We now have confirmation of a second Canadian killed during attacks Saturday morning. The victim, a 22-year-old from BC who was at that music festival that was targeted by Hamas. Yvette Bren now with reaction from his loved ones and the continued concern over others still trapped.
After days of uncertainty, the worst-case scenario now confirmed. 22-year-old Ben Mizrahi among those killed at an Israeli music festival.
It's just a huge, huge loss for the Vancouver Jewish community. You know, it's very painful. We feel this loss very, very deeply.
Rabbi Jonathan Infeld lives across the street from Mizrahi's parents. He visited them on Saturday night as they awaited news.
There's barely anything to be said because there are no words that can bring comfort to a family. The feeling is a feeling of dread and emptiness.
He's the second Canadian killed at that festival. The first is Alexandre Luc from Montreal. Also, there's Tiferet Lapido. The 23-year-old is now missing, her Canadian dad putting out a video plea.
We can't sleep at night. Our days have become a long nightmare. And I believe that you can understand our situation. I want to hug my daughter, that's all.
Gaza refugee Mohammed Fayad has hope his children are still alive. In this video sent hours ago, they say the bombings are getting worse and they want to come to him in Canada.
I'm very worried and fear that I'm going to lose them at any moment.
He says he was horrified by Saturday's attacks on Israelis.
Totally disagree with this thing, and Palestinian people, as I mentioned, in Gaza have nothing to do with this issue. We are the hostage by Hamas for a long time.
Canadian Amal Joha hasn't heard from her family in Gaza for 2 days. 10 siblings, her dad, several nieces and nephews, all unaccounted for.
I'm scared every day I wake up. I said, maybe I lose my dad, I lose my sister, I lose. Maybe I will lose him, you know.
Some 2 million, like her family, with no food, water, power, and with borders blocked. No way out. Yvette Brenn, CBC News, Vancouver.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says the government is working on getting a Canadian Armed Forces aircraft into Tel Aviv to help those trapped in Israel. In a statement, Melanie Joly said these flights will be available to Canadian citizens, their spouses, and their children, as well as Canadian permanent residents, their spouses, and their children. She goes on to say, we're also working on additional options for those who cannot reach the airport in Tel Aviv. However, Joly did not provide a timeline or a plan for Canadians in Gaza. In the United States, confirmation tonight that several Americans are among the hostages taken to Gaza, and at least 20 citizens are still missing in Israel. That as Joe Biden reaffirms his commitment to provide the weapons needed to fight Hamas. Katie Simpson now with just how far the U.S. says it's willing to go.
The U.S. president looked distraught and sounded angry, delivering his strongest condemnation of the violence yet.
We must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel.
Going into graphic detail, Joe Biden argued Israel has a duty to respond to the brutal attack.
This was an act of sheer evil.
Biden announced additional U.S. military support, including ammunition to replenish Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, with the first plane load already on the ground. While back in Washington, focus remained on rescuing American captives. 23-year-old Hirsch Goldberg-Polin is among the missing. His mother sharing the heartbreaking details of their last text message exchange.
It said, "I'm sorry," and I took it to mean, I love you and I'm sorry because whatever is going to happen is going to cause you tremendous pain and worry.
U.S. warships have now started arriving in the eastern Mediterranean, though their presence is concerning at least one NATO ally. What business does America's aircraft carrier have in Israel? What is it coming to do? Asked the Turkish president. It's going to hit all of Gaza, he said, and commit very serious massacres. But the U.S. National Security Advisor says the ships are about containing the conflict.
To send a clear message of deterrence to other states or non-state actors that might seek to widen this war.
Echoing the president, Jake Sullivan vowed unwavering support for Israel, making no public demands of restraint.
And I'm not here to draw red lines or issue warnings or give lectures to anybody.
The White House will ask Congress to prioritize additional spending packages for Israel. That can't happen until a new House Speaker is elected, which lawmakers hope is finally sorted out before the week is over. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
We have continuing coverage later in the program, including my conversation with someone who was at that music festival as it was attacked by Hamas. But for now, back to Ian in Vancouver with tonight's other top stories. Ian?
Thanks, Adrian. The RCMP has opened a criminal investigation into the Ontario government's plan to develop protected lands. That controversial decision sparked a backlash, and Premier Doug Ford reversed course with an apology. Ithil Musa now on what this investigation could mean for the province.
The controversy surrounding the Ontario government's plan to develop protected lands just keeps growing, with the RCMP's decision to open a criminal investigation.
It's very serious when the RCMP gets involved in this way.
The Mounties Sensitive and International Investigations Unit has taken over the case, looking into the province's plan to remove parcels of land from protected areas around Toronto for housing development.
They typically only get involved where there's forms of abuse of political authority that really threaten to bring the institutions of Canada into disrepute.
Ontario's Integrity Commissioner and Auditor General found that the Greenbelt process was flawed and that it favored well-connected developers. Ontario's official opposition leader wants to get to the bottom of what happened.
Something just doesn't sit right about this government's handling of the Greenbelt. Ontarians deserve answers. They deserve transparency.
It was a mistake to open the Greenbelt. It was a mistake to establish a process that moved too fast.
Ford apologized last month and announced his government was reversing its decision. The Premier's office says it will cooperate with the RCMP, stating we have zero tolerance for any wrongdoing and expect anyone involved in the decision-making about the Greenbelt lands to have followed the letter of the law. But the criminal investigation could limit Ford's ability to highlight policies his government wants to promote, says this expert.
Every time it's talking about the Greenbelt, it's talking about something it doesn't want to talk about. And so that takes away airtime, it takes away broadcast time, it takes away column inches from things it wants to be talking about.
The RCMP hasn't said how long it expects the investigation to take. Ithil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
A strike of about 4,000 Ontario auto workers is now on hold after less than a day off the job.
Unifor is very happy to announce that we have reached a tentative agreement with General Motors following a 12-hour strike.
Unifor says that agreement has GM agreeing to demands around pensions, retirement income, and converting workers into permanent employees. British Columbia has signed a new healthcare funding agreement with the federal government, the first one that Ottawa has signed with a single province. It consists of $1.2 billion heading to BC over the course of 3 years. In exchange, the province has developed a plan to increase access to several services, including family doctors. This deal is part of a wider agreement aimed at resolving the healthcare crisis across Canada. Today is the deadline for Canada to remove about 40 people from its embassy in Delhi. Their removal was ordered after accusations that India played a role in the killing of a Canadian Sikh activist in British Columbia. Sources tell CBC News if Canada doesn't comply, India will revoke diplomatic immunity for those staff members. A debate over student pronouns and parental consent is heating up in Saskatchewan tonight.
We're parents. We have the right to know what's going on with our children.
Why the government plans to push through a controversial policy. Next. Plus, the NHL weighs in on Pride Nights.
Very disappointing to hear this news coming from the NHL.
New rules critics are calling a setback for inclusion.
And I'll be back from Tel Aviv with a survival story.
It's like, if you not run now, they will kill you.
We're back in 2.
A Russian module on the International Space Station has sprung a coolant leak. Authorities say neither the crew nor the station is in any danger, but it's not immediately apparent what's caused the leak in a backup cooling system. The Saskatchewan government is a step closer to invoking the Charter of Rights Notwithstanding clause. It says it's doing that to protect its controversial school pronoun policy from judicial review. Sam Sampson looks at the reaction to the move.
Everyone here says they want to protect children, but they disagree about whether Saskatchewan's school pronoun policy meets that goal. Most here oppose the requirement that teachers inform parents if their child under 16 wants to use a different name or pronoun. In an emergency legislative session on Tuesday, Premier Scott Moe took the first step to invoking the notwithstanding clause.
The question here today, Mr. Speaker, is why do the NDP not believe that parents should be involved in their children's education?
How can the minister justify using the notwithstanding clause to violate the human rights of already vulnerable children?
Human rights groups say the policy will harm trans students and is unconstitutional. If the notwithstanding clause is used, it will make any court decision moot, keeping the policy in classrooms.
And if he's willing to trample on the rights, the Charter of Rights of 16-year-olds who can't vote, what's coming next?
But the government has supporters here as well.
We're parents. We have the right to know what's going on with our children. So Scott Moe is making the right decision right now and invoking this. He's had no choice.
The notwithstanding clause allows governments to override certain charter rights. In recent years, it's being used by provinces like never before.
It has to stop. We don't have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms that is intended to let people's rights get trampled. Not if they're a religious minority, not if they're a gender minority, not if it's women's reproductive freedom.
The provincial NDP blocked the government on Tuesday, but with a majority, it's expected to pass this month. The court challenge against the policy itself is scheduled for November, keeping some Saskatchewan children, teachers, and families caught in the middle. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Regina.
Canada's nursing shortage has been well documented, but one West African country says Canada is passing our problem onto them.
Canada is benefiting tremendously, but those of us who are doing the training are not benefiting.
Why Ghana says we're stealing its nurses.
But first, I'll be back from Israel with an eyewitness account of Hamas's deadly assault on that music festival.
I see the soldier take the gun and start to shoot in us.
Her terrifying escape is coming up. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
American Olympic champion Mary Lou Retton is reportedly fighting for her life tonight. Retton's daughter says her mother has pneumonia and is unable to breathe on her own. Retton's just 55 years old. She's been in the ICU for more than a week. The gymnast is best known for dominating the 1984 Olympics, becoming the first American woman to take home gold in the all-round competition. The NHL is banning the use of pride tape for players on the ice. That's the hockey tape which shows support for the LGBTQ community. Cameron McIntosh now on what prompted the change and why some say this is a step in the wrong direction.
A symbol of inclusivity now benched, it appears, for good. Rainbow-colored stick tape, pride tape.
Very disappointing to hear this news coming from the NHL.
Chris Wells is co-founder of Pride Tape. Invented, he says, to promote inclusion. It was used on occasion on all 32 NHL teams.
It's never been forced. It's just been available for players to signal their support without having to say any words.
Pride Tape was first used by the Edmonton Oilers and counts the game's biggest name among its advocates.
Is it something that I'd like to see put back into place one day? Certainly.
It stems from an announcement last June. The NHL decided to discontinue the use of themed warm-up jerseys after a handful of players refused to wear pride jerseys, some citing religious and cultural objections.
That's just become more of a distraction from really the essence of what the purpose of these nights are.
It's not just Pride Tape. Other on-ice displays like pink tape or pink hockey sticks for cancer initiatives or camouflage tape in support of military nights also won't continue.
There's been a lot of collateral damage in this discussion.
David Palumbo is with You Can Play, dedicated to LGBTQ+ inclusion in sport.
Unfortunately, I can't sit here and tell you that, a lot of this is because someone has expressed concern over using camo tape to express support for military families or refuses to wear a hockey fights cancer jersey.
Many teams will still go ahead with their Pride nights. Winnipeg's game will go next month.
The commitment, from an organization standpoint is we'll do everything we possibly can.
The NHL didn't respond to a request for comment, but has said many times in the past that it supports diversity and inclusion. Its players just won't be showing it on the ice. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
In Israel, terrible new discoveries are pushing up the number of dead in both Israel and the Gaza Strip. Details on that and more from a senior officer in the Israeli Defense Forces. But that's not all. This is the breakdown. A witness describes the shock when Hamas turned a festival into a massacre.
It's like, if you not run now, they will kill you.
Long hours spent hiding and praying. Then thinking she's found a savior, but really, he's a killer. Laura Mallow made it home alive, but more than 260 people there did not. She breaks down a harrowing tale of survival.
You can see here. I be with my friends. We drinking, we happy, we enjoy. And someone run to the DJ and say to the DJ, like, stop the music. We start to hear the bombs, the missiles, pa, 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 non-stop, like hour and a half. I live next to Gaza, but it's the first time that I hear a lot of missiles. We see a bunker next to the bus station. We go inside to be safe, and this is when we start to hear a shoot, like pa, 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 pa. A lot of shoots, and people run to us and tell us, like, go from here. People in the bikes shooting everybody. We go into the car and we escape.
Lara Mello, her friend Itamar, so alert, escaping, chronicling their terror somehow. Relief when they found a shelter, then horror, a man.
I think he's soldier of us, but more close, I see the soldier take the gun and start to shoot in us. My car is with shots. After that, we start to just drive.
Where were you hiding?
In a greenhouse next to the kibbutz. We go there in 7 a.m. and the army find us 10:30 p.m. So we've been like 15.5 hours there alone, without water, without food.
That whole time when you're hiding, were you able to get any messages out to your parents?
Yeah. Actually, I just take my phone and call my parents to say bye. I tell them that if I am going from this world, just know that I love you. I really feel that I'm going to die. And my father starts to crying and tell me, like, no, what do you say? Wait, I don't understand nothing. What are you talking about? And I told him, like, very, very quiet, like, Father, I can speak now. They can hear me.
It's dark when the army arrives, and they call her by name. That was the only way she knew she was being rescued.
We go to take my phone from my car, and I open the phone, and of course a lot of messages, a lot of calls. I just put a story in the Instagram when I'm crying. Say like, people, we are in life. Thank you for everything.
What do you know about some of your friends now?
A lot of people dying, of my friends.
You know, as you rest up and you heal, more and more pictures show up, you know, on social media and Telegram.
It's hard to see that. I feel like one side, what I lived is so heavy. The second, I'm alive. I can't believe it. A lot of people didn't have my lucky. And all the world needs to know that it's not a problem with Palestine. It's not a problem with people from Palestine. I have friends from Palestine. The people is with the terrorism, with Hamas.
There are questions tonight about the protection of Israelis and the latest developments in this war. For some answers, I spoke with Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus of the Israel Defense Forces. So our conversation was just before midnight local time. Here are some excerpts from our talk, and some of the details are graphic. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you for joining us. We are hearing tonight some terrible stories about discoveries in communities near Gaza today. Can you help us understand what the IDF found in Kfar, Gaza?
Yes, thanks for having me. The atrocities are becoming ever more apparent. The numbers that we have released so far of almost 1,000 killed Israelis and more than 2,500 wounded Israelis, most of those civilians. We've seen the bodies of women, Israeli women, paraded on the streets of Gaza, some of them alive, some of them dead, manhandled with blood, bloodied pants and dresses. And one can only assume what these monsters from Gaza have done to our civilians, our men and women.
What is happening with that fight, as you put it? What are you keeping an eye on in the north, at the border with Lebanon? What is happening next in Gaza? We see the airstrikes, but what is coming next?
As of now, we are fighting on 3 fronts. The primary one is Gaza, the secondary one is Lebanon, and the third one, just opened, is the Syrian front. Rockets and artillery shells have been fired at Israel from Syria, and that maybe comes as news. There are Iranian proxies in Syria. Iran, the world's greatest state sponsor of terrorism, has been busy building a network of proxy organizations around our borders. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, and there are Iranian proxies in Syria as well. It is not yet confirmed who fired, whether it was the Syrian regime or Iranian proxies, but it came from Syrian sovereign territory. But most of the casualties, of course, the overwhelming majority are in the south. There are lots of Israeli troops down in southern Israel in defensive positions, and that's perhaps the big difference between how this war started and what we're doing now. Then we were surprised. Now we are deployed on the ground and responding probably as we should. And we have 300,000 soldiers, reserve soldiers, that have been mobilized. And I'm talking about infantry, armor, artillery, combat engineers, and intelligence that are now preparing themselves around Gaza for the task to come.
You said infantry. Are you preparing for a ground invasion soon?
All options are on the table, and we need to have all our capacities at hand. The aim is to dismantle Hamas's military capabilities.
You mentioned the word surprise in reference to what happened on Saturday. We spoke tonight with a woman who survived the massacre at that music festival. She was on the run for hours. She said she has a question for the military, which is, how did the military and intelligence agencies miss this? She doesn't understand. A lot of people do not understand.
I think at this stage, nobody understands. And that and many other questions made by Israeli civilians, by parents and relatives of the abducted, the missing Israelis, and by parents to soldiers and all ordinary Israelis. They're asking many very legitimate questions, hard questions, that pertain to the combat capabilities of the IDF. It will be the focus once the last bullet is fired in Gaza.
You know, I think, sir, some people will hear that and think they don't know when the last bullet will ever be fired, but they need answers sooner than that. You know, there is evidence of a Hamas training video with mock-ups of settlements. Did the IDF not see that? Was it not worried about it?
There's a difference between seeing what your enemy is doing and understanding his intentions and then matching those intentions and capabilities with your actions. But I won't go into further details about this. This will be investigated.
Right now, they want answers about the hostages. Is there any information you can tell us about them, about efforts to free them, about how many they are, where they are?
They are underground, held by Hamas and the Islamic Jihad. We are talking about women, children, infants, toddlers, disabled people, Holocaust survivors that have been dragged off into Gaza and are now held by Gaza underground in Hamas's network of tunnels that they have built underneath the Gaza Strip.
Will the presence of the hostages change what you do in Gaza now?
I'm not going to comment about that.
Okay, understood. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you for talking with us. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Ian, we're wrapping up for the night here in Tel Aviv, so it's back to you in Vancouver.
And of course, we'll see you again tomorrow, Adrian, with more coverage of this war. And stay safe. Coming up, Canada's nursing shortage is having a ripple effect around the globe. Why it's causing a brain drain in Ghana. Plus,
the beginning of the long dash, which follows 10 seconds of silence, will indicate exactly 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time.
the beat and tones heard across Canada why the long dash has finally come to an end. Ghana trains nurses and Canada snaps them up.
On monthly basis.
It's not a fair deal.
Medical workers there are proposing a fix.
Canada should be able to support Ghana's training.
We'll show you how they make their case for your taxes. David Common traveled to Ghana to hear firsthand the allegation that Canada is solving its nursing shortage at the expense of a less fortunate country.
Ghana's healthcare system is facing a crisis. There just aren't enough experienced nurses.
Is it right for you to just finish your national service and decide that you are leaving?
The country trains plenty, but then they leave for better salaries abroad.
It's affecting the staff.
I've seen quite a number of my nurses leave on monthly basis, and it's quite devastating.
Dr. Kennedy Bryson doesn't blame his registered nurses for seeking opportunity abroad, but he is critical of countries that take those nurses and do nothing for Ghana.
So Canada is benefiting tremendously. The United States is benefiting. UK is benefiting. But those of us who are doing the training are not benefiting. Amy just left. I think she got to Canada. Is it Canada?
Last year, 7,000 of Ghana's nurses left for wealthier nations, but the brain drain has got even worse this year. In just the first 6 months of 2023, 5,200 departed. Most of them had been trained in the public system.
It's not a fair deal that is going on.
It's like Ghana, the head of the Nurses Association says, is subsidizing countries like Canada.
I think it's about time these countries actually approach Ghana and go into some formal bilateral arrangements so that if we package nurses from Ghana and bring them to Canada, for example, Canada should be able to support Ghana's training.
Notice that she isn't saying nurses shouldn't go. She says that is their right, especially when the average wage for a nurse here is around $300 a month.
Could you buy a house on a Ghana nurse's salary?
That would be really, really difficult.
You're looking to move abroad?
Yes, that's the plan.
To Canada?
Yes, that's the plan.
And where?
Well, now I'm looking to relocate to Alberta.
Alberta?
Yes. I submitted in my application in February, but
Festus Frimpong could be there by the end of the year, lured by a better salary and a provincial offer to pay the first 3 months of his accommodation. It'll help support his extended family back in Ghana, but he worries about the co-workers and patients he'll leave behind.
This is difficult. I mean, this is home, you know, so we have a lot of nurses and midwives living, and then most of whom are the experienced ones. So then the question we ask is, what's going to happen in Ghana in the next 2 or 3 years?
They have their human rights to travel across the world and decide where to ply their trade. But the ordinary Ghanaian also has a right to be seen and treated when he or she is sick.
The message from Ghana is not stop stealing our nurses, it's pay us to offset Ghana's costs to produce nurses for countries like Canada. It shows the domino effect of the nurse staffing crisis around the world.
David, you spoke to nurses in Ghana who are struggling with this decision. What did they tell you?
Well, Ian, it's this push-pull. You know, they are looking at the opportunity in a place like Canada to make a better salary, send some of that money back home to their family, but then worried about their family and what kind of healthcare system they're going to be left with, because you have to consider which nurses are leaving. It's very often those with a considerable amount of experience. You know, for instance, those who have specialized in pediatric care or early children, you know, children in their very early parts of their lives, babies. And when you take that kind of expertise out of the system, you're also taking away the teachers, those who would teach younger nurses. And so it has a very profound effect on Ghana's already fragile health system.
Really interesting angle to this nurse's story. David, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, it's the end of an era for Canadian radio.
The CBC brings you the Dominion Observatory official time signal.
Canada's longest running radio segment runs out of time. That's next in our moment. The Long Dash has been on CBC Radio for more than 80 years. From coast to coast to coast, the beeps connected listeners, airing at exactly 1 p.m., that's Eastern Time, every single day. That is until yesterday, when the iconic tone aired for the last time, the end for a one-of-a-kind piece of Canadiana. The long moment of silence is our moment.
1 o'clock. Eastern Daylight Time.
The Long Dash started on November 5th, 1939, and at the time it was a very important thing for Canadians coast to coast.
The CBC brings you the Dominion Observatory official time signal.
People were tuning their clocks on their wrists at their home, their grandfather clocks, to that tone. You had the railroads that used it, shipping companies that used it, so it was a very vital tool.
The beginning of the Long Dash indicates exactly...
The last broadcast of the Dash was at 1 p.m. Eastern on October 9th, 2023. It existed for 84 years, so technically it is our longest running radio program by far, even if it was only for a few seconds.
Well, the Long Dash just reminds me of my childhood. So I started doing CBC Towels. So then I did the second one about how would you know it's 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. It's sort of a punctuation mark in my life. It's a heartbeat type thing. I'm just sentimental. I don't want it to end. It has nothing to do with selling tea towels. It's part of who we are, so it's I feel sad about it.
You can hear a soothing silence, then a beep.
One person, they have this nostalgic memory of lunchtime because whenever they heard that tone, their mother would start cooking lunch. So the majority of people are very sad that it's gone and that it's kind of signaling an end to an era.
Okay, I know some of you out there are going, What are they talking about? But for those of us of a certain age who adore CBC Radio, it is a nostalgic time. I thought the copy was wrong earlier when it said 1 o'clock, because in Atlantic Canada, the Maritimes, it was 2. Then I moved out here, it was 10 o'clock in the morning. But you know what? Whatever time it was that tone and the silence and setting your watch that did kind of bring a lot of us together. Well, for Adrian and all of us here at the National, thanks for being with us. You can watch anytime, anywhere on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing. Good night.